Hello, everyone. My name is Sawyer Main. I'm a first year master's student here at the University of Tennessee, and I have the pleasure of working under Dr. Jenny Ivy, our state equine extension specialist. And my master's program is centered around equine science and youth development. So, we're going to discuss a topic today that is very important to me, my master's program, and something I'm passionate about, and that's keeping youth engaged in equine activities. So, more specifically, we're going to talk about keeping youth engaged in their equine programs during the pressing times that we face now, the ongoing pandemic. So, safety is a large concern during this time because of the spread of the pandemic, but we still need to give youth the opportunity to have some hands-on experience and continue to grow their knowledge of equines and the equine industry. So, we're going to discuss some safe activities to keep youth engaged during this time. And those will include in person as well as online activities. We've seen a lot of implementation of online instruction since the start of the pandemic. I know I've seen a lot of it here as a master's student, and I'm sure other youth have seen it as well, no matter their grade level. Um, so we are going to talk about some of those online activities, but also some in-person stuff as well. So, as far as in person activities go, the main concern and reason for the decrease in the ability to have in person meetings and activities is the safety issue. So, however, I think that if we implement things like requiring face coverings and social distancing, the two obvious ones, I think we can really manage to host in person activities or meetings and still be compliant with safety precautions if we implement those and not have to worry too much. So, um, even though we are in an ongoing pandemic and times are pressing, it is still important, I think, that we offer some in person activities to students to keep them engaged in their projects. They still need that practical knowledge. They still like to be involved in their community. They need that community involvement, and then they need to develop their skills as well. Especially if they decide to pursue a career in equine science. So we don't want to deprive them of some hands-on practical knowledge and skill development. So we'll discuss some examples of in-person activities that we can manage safety while still being able to hold those. So the first one that I want to discuss is charity equine events. So these are important, I think, because it does give youth the feeling that they're making a difference while still being involved with their equine project or activity. And some examples of that are shows and fundraisers. So this lovely picture here on the bottom right, that strapping young gentleman on the right is myself a number of years ago as a 4-H'er in a local 4-H horse show. So I think that shows are a big one we can implement, even if it's just small local ones. Most arenas are open, and even some of them are covered. So I think it's very doable to still host things like this and implement social distancing. Um, Now, this picture on the bottom, we're clearly not social distance. This was before we would have even thought of a pandemic, but it would be just as easy to require people to stand so far apart in the arena. After all, an arena is a pretty big open area, even if it's covered. Um, so that's one option. And then any type of fundraiser. So I spoke to a friend of mine who is involved in the showing of cutting horses, and the East Tennessee Cutting Horse Association hosted an event where youth were encouraged to participate in one of their cutting contests, and the proceeds went to a local charity. So anything like that that will keep youth involved while giving them a feeling that they're like giving back to their community is super helpful. And like I said, most of them is super easy to keep them socially distanced or wear a face covering or comply with any safety measures that need to be met. Clinic series is another one. And that goes back to being able to be held in an arena where it's open and you don't have to worry about being super close to anybody. And that gives students that hands-on learning. From what I have noticed as a student and seen in other youth is that they want that hands-on experience. And we're going to talk about online instruction, but I think at this point, some of them are getting a little bored or even tired of online instruction. So I think that giving a break in that and adding some in-person activities and some hands-on things like a clinic series is one way to give them the hands-on experience that they've maybe lacked for the past several months due to the pandemic. We also thought about some outdoor lesson activities. So this is more of the classroom style instruction, but taking place outdoors. Once again, you can socially distance. So we thought of a GI and repro tract twister game, so to speak. So basically the GI tract or the repro tract of the horse would be laid out in a large space, and then students would stand on different parts of the tract and kind of follow the flow of processes to help them learn that while still remaining socially distant, but have that in-person aspect. So that's some of the in-person activities. So there is still a need for online instruction sometimes. Sometimes it may not be an option to host an in-person activity because of classroom confinements, space limitations, whatever it may be. So online instruction is still important, and it can be made enjoyable. I just think it's important to reduce some of the lecture style online instruction. I think that may be why people get a little bit uneasy when it comes to online instruction, because a lot of it is just watching a video lecture. And if we implement more online interaction amongst youth, I think it will boost their amount of enjoyment when it comes to participating in online instruction. So some ideas that we came up with, a lot of these involve Zoom meetings. I'm sure most of us are familiar with Zoom by now. I know I am. So online judging practices, I spoke with an extension agent from my home county and an adult volunteer, and they've had some really good success having judging practices over Zoom. So that's one option, and you can do breakout rooms. So you can put this youth together in their own individual breakout rooms, give them a discussion topic, whatever it may be. That'll keep them engaged with each other while still being able to do instruction online. Group presentations and webinars, anything like that. So that gives them the opportunity to learn while still remaining engaged and give them that human aspect rather than just sitting in front of a screen and watching. Asynchronous options is another way that we can implement online instruction. So oral reasons via video submissions is a way we can still keep our judging teams active. So give them a judging class, have them judge it, prepare a set of reasons by, say you give it to them on Monday, have them prepare the reasons by Friday and turn in a video of them giving their oral reasons. Things like that. It sounds super simple, but I think it's very helpful when it comes to online instruction. And then online modules and instructional videos, that's kind of the traditional online instruction that we think of. But it works in a pinch. You can do it asynchronous. You don't have to make sure everyone is on the same schedule. So I think things like that are super, super helpful. So that's pretty much all I have. I hope some of these ideas you'll be able to take back and keep the youth wherever you're located involved in their equine or projects or activities. So that's pretty much all that I have. There's my email. If you have any questions or need to reach out to me for any reason, feel free to shoot me an email. Thanks, guys.